All right, Brian Particelli, toofab.com. Hello, Holt. Pleasure to meet you. Longtime fan. Really enjoyed this movie. I mean, it's Guy Ritchie, so what do you expect? It's going to be good. But for you, someone who has, worked with every big name director under the sun, it seems like this is your first time working with Guy. Just what surprised you about working with him?
Every director has a different approach to the process. And Guy is a guy who, works at a fast pace. He's tremendously energetic. He trusts his instincts, so he'll make changes at the last minute. He'll add new dialogue, rewrite the scene, whatever it is, change a piece of choreography. And it was a little bit of a contrast for me because some of the other directors that I had been working with previously had a more kind of a more meticulous kind of an approach, whereas Guy will kind of shoot from the hip. So you got to stay light on your feet. You got to stay loose and flexible, and not come into the process with the expectation that it's going to resemble the experience you had on the last film, because you're in Guy Ritchie's world now, and and he has his own unique style.
And for you, I guess, what part of the process did you come aboard for the cast? Because this is also a stacked cast. What was it like when you signed on versus, as you were seeing all these names that were being added? Just, I guess, what was that like for you?
Well, look, I mean, it was really gratifying for me on a certain level because Bullet is a good part,
Yeah.
And we have a lot of terrific actors in our film. Great veteran, experienced, accomplished guys in all of the supporting roles. I mean, really, 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 really talented guys. So to be there with them and with Jason, who is of course one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and with a director like Guy, who is a really kind of unique, kind of visionary director who has his own approach to the work and his own signature style. I thought I was lucky to be there, and I was determined, to make it fun, and not take myself too seriously, and show up every day and just try to give the best performance I could give.
And we talk a little bit about Jason Statham. Obviously, this is, I think, their fourth film together, Guy and Jason. But you've worked with all these other action greats too: Stallone, Cruise, Chris Hemsworth, Brad Pitt, Batman. Just how does Statham stack up?
Look, I mean, Jason Jason is a very, very easygoing guy who's a pleasure to work with. Very affable. Very down to earth, and very good at what he does. And I think that there's a reason that Jason is one of the biggest stars in the world. And it has to do with something. I said this in another interview recently, but something that they used to call star quality, right? So it's something that you're born with. It's not something that you can learn in acting school. It's not something that you can buy. It's not something that you can teach. It's star quality. It means when he walks into the frame, when you're sitting there in the theater and you're looking up at the screen and Jason walks on screen, he evokes certain emotions in you. Do you know what I mean? It's a natural physical connection between an actor and his audience. Men want to be like him. Women want to be with him. Do you know what I mean? It's just this thing that Jason has, and he's got it in spades.
Yeah.
And, and this is the secret to success. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He and Guy have a close friendship. They're always on the same page. There's never any tension between director and star, and when the two guys that are most important to the production have that kind of relationship and set that kind of a tone,
Mm,
for the rest of us, then it's very easy, you know what I mean, to give
yeah.
yourself over to the whole experience. And it's there's a camaraderie about, you're talking about these great actors in these supporting parts. These guys are terrific, and
Yeah.
we had such great relationships together, and we had such fun working together. It was just a great experience.
That's the thing. And you have someone like Guy Ritchie too, who is so established. You have, people will come on just to be a minor role, show up in one scene just because they want to work with him. It just speaks to him as well. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so one of the people I wanted to quickly talk about as well was Post Malone, just because when the trailer came out, everyone was surprised to see him, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not in it for very long. You can even tell that from the trailer itself. That's not a spoiler. But just was it like seeing him on set?
Listen, no one had told me, you know what I mean, that he was going to be in the movie, and but I like his music, so
Yeah.
but just because he's obviously a very talented musician doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be a good actor. But he did a nice job.
Yeah.
He was very professional and I thought, very believable in his part. So, if I were a betting man, I'd say that you haven't seen the last of Post Malone on the big screen.
I would hope not. And now I'm a big Mindhunter fan. I know we know it's not likely not coming back, but do you think maybe somewhere down the line, I know Netflix is still trying to keep that door open as a maybe it could years and years. We just want to see the BTK thing come to a close, get some closure there.
Yeah, well, look, Brian, it's all up to David.
Yeah.
It's whatever David wants to do. If David wants to come back and do it, I'll certainly come back. I know my friend Jonathan Groff will come back.
Yeah.
I'm sure Anna Torv would come back. It's a privilege to work with a great filmmaker like him, and like Guy.
Yeah.
You're lucky as an actor when you are with Guy, even if they're very different, they're still really good in different ways. Do you know what I mean? And so that's what you want as an actor. You want to be with the guys that are really exceptional. So look, yeah, it does seem unlikely, but let me tell you, if I get the call, they won't have to ask me twice.
Yeah, we'll keep the fingers crossed. And last question, but I was reading, I think it was an interview you did with Men's Journal, and you were talking about a Marvel role that you were up to for that you didn't end up getting. I'm curious if you would say what it was, because I know a lot of people want to see you as the Thing in Fantastic Four. They think you'd make a great Ben Grimm.
I would like to look. Doesn't my head looks like a rock, right? All I need are like little stone lines. And what was I gonna be in Marvel? Well, I lost the part of Cable to my friend Josh Brolin in Deadpool, but that's
right? No, that's Marvel.
Oh, then that's the one. So
yeah.
I was up for Cable. I was up for Cable.
Oh, that would be good.
And and there was some controversy because if I'm correct, Josh had already played a role in the Marvel universe, right?
Yeah.
Is it Thanos?
What's Thanos? Yep.
Right. So in theory, but in theory, you can't be two characters in the same comic book universe. So so there was one brief shining moment. I went in and I read with Ryan Reynolds, who was very gracious, and the director is somebody that I had known, David Leitch, since he was, since he was Brad Pitt's stuntman on Fight Club. That's how back I go back. And the reading went exceptionally well. The casting director is an old friend of mine. And somebody, executive who shall remain nameless, who killed it for me. And I will get my revenge one day. One day.
We'll see you as a thing. I'll put it. Keep putting it out there. But thank you so much. Have a good one. And yeah, thanks again.
Pleasure, Brian. It's nice meeting you. Nice chatting with you. Thank you very much.